Welcome to the Polity, coming to you from the Abuja studio of Captain TV, and it's coming to you live and direct. My name is Dayo Omogun, and I do hope that your day has been good. That's very important to me because it's only someone who's together who can watch any program. And I want you to be together even if you have not been thus far. I encourage and challenge you to just put yourself together. I don't know what you've been through, but I know that in the course of this program you can get put together because we dispense hope here. We believe in Nigeria that's greater than where we are. And as we string the knots together, you can also find hope in the things that we talk about. If it's going to get better for Nigeria, it will definitely get better for you. I don't know what you're going through. How's your family doing? Things will get better. I wish I can see you directly so I can see whether you have tried to smile. Smile, because we love you. All right, now, like I said before, my name is Dayo Omogun, and today I bring you the Polity. It comes to you every work day of the week, and that's Monday to Friday at exactly the same time, 2 to 3:30 p.m. 90 minutes of engagement, 90 minutes of analysis, 90 minutes of in-depth analysis, articulate analysis, and as much as possible dispassionate analysis. As objective as possible. If we find guests who intend to make it too subjective, we also have a role. We know how to bring them to the place where common sense prevails. Okay, now I'm starting out straight away with my guest, and guess who my guest is today? His name, Ben Agunloye, and I'll say welcome, Mr. Ben.
Good afternoon, my dear UK.
Mr. B. All right, so we intend to look at two issues. First of all, Mr. President will be rounding up, or maybe may have rounded up his trip to the UK in response to the invitation by King Charles, and we're doing like a review. We want to look at what transpired. How did the visit go? And what does it portend for Nigeria? What does it hold in store for Nigeria? And so we are saying we're looking at the pomp, the splendor, and the expectations. And also in the second segment, we will be looking at the like the final part of the 3-part serial on the rise and fall of the PDP. And the parts that we want to emphasize is the lessons that the APC and other parties need to take home. All right? They need to find, because you see, I've said before, that's one of my quotable quotes, that you can learn wisdom from foolishness, from the foolish. You can learn wisdom from the foolish. What it means is that you will not toe their path. What it means is that you will not do things the way they did theirs. So that's wisdom, avoiding foolishness. It's simple as that. So now let's start with this way, Ben. So Mr. President got to the UK. You were here on no, it was last week. And we're talking about what exactly is there in store. All right, I guess we'll just take a break and get back. All right, welcome back to the show. We had some issues, technical issues, but we do believe that we have overcome right now, and then we can have a smooth sail. Okay, so we were talking about the Mr. President's visit to the UK, and we're taking like a review of what really happened. Whether you agree or not, it was a time of pomp, splendor, and And based on that, Nigerians' expectations have risen higher, more positive than ever before, and thinking, so what are we going to get? And that's what we're trying to look at. And I was asking Ben, so as far as you're concerned, I give an overview. What kind of outing was that? If you had to score over 100, what kind of score would you give?
Well, I think it's an excellent outing, given that we are the most populous, how do we say it now? We're the most populous Commonwealth nation in Africa.
Okay.
And possibly resident in the UK, we possibly should be coming next in number to India and Pakistan. And when you look at our numbers, or the capacity or the quality, the quality of the representation of the membership that we have in the UK, I think it is substantive and substantial enough. And so the UK rolling out the red carpet in Windsor and at 10 Downing Street to welcome our president, I think it's not just an honor to the president, it's an honor to Nigeria as a nation. I don't think this is a feat or an exercise that happens every other day. So if it is not something that is done every now and then, I think that it is worth celebrating, in the concept that it was originated by the king, not something that we wrote applying or requesting or begging for. Now, it's also important to know that Britain has not fully recovered from Brexit. And the truth, at the point of pulling away from Europe, one of the focus that may not be so pronounced, so to say, by the UK system is the fact that they still have the Commonwealth family, 57, or is it 58 countries, which is almost the same size in terms of number of nation, but much higher than Europe in population, much higher than Europe in landmass, much higher than Europe in diversity of resources. And so when you're looking out to Commonwealth nation, Nigeria with over 7 vegetation, with over 200 million people, and a lot of other things, offers the UK an environment to look into for replacing some of the things in terms of maybe human resources, in terms of even some products that they will be missing by not being part of the European Union. So to a large extent, therefore, post-Brexit, I've been looking forward to UK engaging more with the Nigerian government to closing some gap. So I want to believe that this is like an opportunity for the UK to do that. And of course, for us, I think some people have complained about the size of the delegation of the president. I don't think anything is wrong with that delegation.
Really?
And I would explain that. You have invited me to your house, no restriction. If I come alone, there is a limit to what I can see. But when I come with my team, why defense is looking at defense and talking to defense people on the sideline, trade is talking to trade people on the sideline, others, I don't think there is anybody that went on that trip that is not required.
Wait a minute. You are saying that because you invite me and there are no restrictions, I bring my entire family?
Yes, and discuss with your family, and then we know ourselves better. So when I go back home, if I have to send any of them to go and do any follow-up, they have a point to start from.
Where are the standards, limits of decency?
What?
Where does decency, where is the cutoff?
When you invited me, did you say I should come alone? You invited me as a government. He was not invited as Tinubu.
Yeah.
He was invited as the president and the leader of the Nigerian government.
So he now goes there with how many state governors and how many ministers?
Well, Nigeria is diversified, and we have things that we need to go forward with. So at a point when you are marketing yourself, we've been trying to market ourselves, and somebody now say, okay, come and show yourself, Abi. Then it's okay that you go there and show. Definitely they have submitted the list of who and who will be coming, and if the delegation is too large on their own part that they cannot host, they will possibly have rejected it.
They may not, out of just some, well, it will soon be done. It will soon be over. Maybe some.
Yeah, it's just
some
2 days.
British, British courtesy, British diplomacy. A lot of times they may not agree with you, but they may not voice it out. But they make a mark. They note down that this is who you are. They take a note that this person cannot be trusted with their own decisions. I mean, they take against the next time. They could say, okay, so when we invite this person, put a limit.
Put a limit to the number.
Yes.
Yeah, but for this one that we have not put a limit, and for the fact that we have a lot of things in common. The practical reality is the foundation of the modern Nigeria, whether we like it or not, is rooted in the British system. And a lot of time we've had challenges and crises because some of those who came on board does not even understand what the system or the philosophy behind some of the system we have chosen to operate. You can't, when you look at the structure and the balance of our military, remove the people trained from MOS and maybe those trained from both MOS and Sandust, right? From our early military strategies, and you will realize that that space is empty. So to a large extent, in defense, we've got things to interact. Now it's an opportunity to be introduced. What each of the ministers or the governor will eventually do thereafter. You can't do everything in 48 hours. But within the 48 hours, you can have an introduction that forms a basis for future relationship, which you are going to build upon, which you are going to continue.
And this introduction couldn't have been gotten in any other way, or previously, or some other time.
Which other way?
Government to government, with a letter, for example, with a mail.
Like I said, you have invited.
A mail goes ahead of you. This is Ben Agunloye. He handles our solid minerals, and please relate with him on our behalf.
Well, like I said,
will it work or not?
It's better if you are coming for marketing. You don't keep your product under the shade. You tell people, right, what these products are, and then people will. You have seen it firsthand. For me, right, practically, I don't know about any other person. I think that there is nothing wrong in the number. More so that they are not going there for a month. They are not going there for a whole week. They are just there for 2 days.
But okay. Now let's
you establish the contact, and you can always follow up with that.
No, I think that we need to be careful to not accept certain things that were rejected for others because we have some soft spot for the person involved this time around. When you have that, like how we treat our children sometimes, there are children that will get away with certain things because we love them more. We definitely don't want to announce that, but we know that we have a soft spot for this boy, and we're going to allow him to get away with something the other boy didn't get away with. Now, I was asked, was it today in the morning, when somebody was talking about how it would have been rude for the president to reject the invitation. It would have closed the door to so many things. And I recall that these same standards, these same things that have been overlooked in this particular instance, were not overlooked concerning Jonathan Goodluck, for example. Were not overlooked concerning Buhari. I think there was something again in the Buhari regime of that sort. When, for example, in the Jonathan case, I think either he traveled somewhere or he was at a party function. I've forgotten what it was exactly. And people died. There was this kind of thing that happened exactly the way it happened on Monday previous, before Mr. President traveled. And they expected, and I said, look, I've never believed that the president must be physically present before work can be done. I've never believed that. I believe that even sometimes the president can be overseas and work will go on, because we're in a generation of technology. You don't necessarily have to be physically present before things are done, but you must be in charge. That's important. You must be mentally in charge. You must be you must understand, you must set the pace. You must have a clear direction, a clear vision that other people in your team will follow. And that's one thing I think was missing in the Buhari regime. I do not think that he had a vision personally of where he wanted the country to go under his reign. I said it from the beginning, and I saw it happen. Now, so I do not think that we should defend the number of this team when we castigated Jonathan to several other governments. We have always consistently said Nigeria has a tradition of sending too many people on international meets. It has always, it's been a constant. We've always said, in actual fact, I think under this same Tinubu, there was an event in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, I think 2 years ago. I don't think it was last year. I think 2 years ago, when he newly came, a few months after. And a huge number of youths were taken there. And there was a whole lot of hula baloo. And yet, people were there who were also defending it, just like you're saying. And I'm saying, we don't need all those governors. We don't need all those ministers to be there on this one occasion for doors to open for us. I don't think so.
Well, like I gave you the example, you have said, come to my house.
Yes.
You didn't say come with 2 people.
Yeah, but now we have an understanding.
Now, I wouldn't know what the case to Dubai was, but the truth will be, for the people that have gone, let's put them one after the other and say, okay, these are the people who have no business being on that trip, right? When we put them one by one, and then we can justify that. Maybe in Jonathan regime, you were talking about, is it 145 or how many civil servants going to Davok in 2014? I think that was heavily criticized.
Now, yeah.
One was Davok, I think the other was environmental climate summit. I think those were the 2 summits where outcries came. What you would discover in those 2 summits is many of the people who went on that trip actually have no direct responsibility or particular activity that they are going there to look at. Now, UK, it's Nigerian trading partner. To an extent, the king said yesterday that we are their biggest export destination in Africa. That's number one. We are also their biggest partner because about 500,000 Nigerians who live in the country and those who have chosen to live in the British system are contributing heavily, from legal to sports to health to academics. And so they are doing so much that as a nation to nation, they saw reason to respect the people and the nation from which they come. So it tells you that to a large extent, there is so much on the table, there is so much to see, and in 48 hours or in less than 48 hours, if the president happens to be there alone, I think that there is a limit to what he can see, to what he can say, and to what we can get. Now, this is not a trip that we plan from here. It's a trip that was initiated from the other side.
Which then should put a lot more demand on decency. Which should put a limit on the number of persons that you take along with you, because you are also considering the other party. You're also considering that this is a privilege. You're also considering that this is not a right. You're also considering that there's a way it should be seen.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is still
there's a positioning that you should aim for.
Now somebody say, oh, when you come to an environment, behave like you are a gentleman. Abi, if they give you 2 pieces of meat, eat 1. Abi, always make sure you leave food in the plate. Food in the plate for who? I think we need to come to common sense here. We are in a dire strait. whether it is defense or in trade, in a lot of ground, we have lost so much.
Is this some kind of...
we need to build back.
All right.
And if you ask me, Britain is one of the nations who had been with us. They laid the foundation of some of the things we have. We learned some of the things we knew from them. The education we had possibly till tomorrow is still to an extent patterned after what is obtainable in England. Even though every now and then we want to be America and then create confusion. But the practical reality is that we took some things from them. We possibly learned the court system from them. Our military had a British offshoot. Our police had a British offshoot. Even our intelligence system had a British offshoot. So to a large extent, I think that if you have opportunity to interact. If they have asked you to come for 48 hours and you now demand to stay for 1 week, that might be wrong. But I think within the space of the time that they have, it's an opportunity to make people know people on the sideline. They can always build on those relationships thereafter. The truth is this, what do you call it? President to prime minister, they can discuss, right? But if the other faces are not there, when you decide to follow up, you send Minister A to that point. He needs to start going through lobbyists, start going through some form of introduction. But if they both have met before, they have exchanged some information, they have looked at, okay, these are the things we can do together. And when they get back to their respective countries, they begin to work on that. So for me, for the ministers and the governors, I would insist that I think their going is not a waste. But if there are other baggages that are not relevant to the direct process, that would be an issue. But I think that it's an opportunity for us to build new trade partnership. Of course, they are talking now of investing in the deep sea port, which if the ports become more active, the port for me is the mainstay of Lagos. Forget every other theory that every other person has to say. I've always said it in school when me and Lagosians are talking. I will say, look, if I become the president and you guys offend me, if I want to punish Lagos, I won't seize your money. I will shut down the port for 30 days. And in 30 days, if the Lagos port does not operate, you will see the impact that the port has on Lagos economy and Lagos life. And one of them who had been in the port for some time say, oh boy, you are wicked. I said, what do you know? He said, you have wicked intention. I said, no. Now fight with the fight. I won't seize your money, but I will shut down the port. That's not wickedness. It's just to show you that, yes, you are hosting the port and serving the nation, but you are also serving yourself because the port is with you. So anything that can be done to make the port more operational, to make the port more effective, to make the port more competitive, for instance, will impact on the local environment and on the nation as a whole. If we can get more things in the areas of training, in the areas of strategy development, in the security atmosphere architecture also, it will work. British run the kind of, we're looking at state policing. British, I think, has a mix of both the local police. I think they even have police at local government level, because you see the Scotland Yard, you talk about this Shire, Grampian police, this police, that police. They are layered and they are there. So perhaps it might just be, okay, an experience of what does these guys do here? How can we get training partnership? How can we get diplomatic relationship? We have issues with visa. Yes, maybe students are getting it, but of course you know what it costs for students. Is it everybody that actually would qualify or be interested in going to the UK, for instance, that know exactly how it used to be? Once UK was visa free for Nigeria, but we knew we lost that opportunity back in the struggling days because we were defending some other African nation, so to say. And then of course we have the diplomatic rule of Umaru Diko kidnap saga, and a number of other things has broken down that chain. But we can always still have a more humane visa system between for Nigerians within the UK system, knowing fully well that there are over 500,000 Nigerians in the UK who are contributing into building that system.
All right, now are you by any chance believing that the visit is some kind of cure-all for all the challenges that we have, and that's why you think that the entire government apparatus should move over there?
The entire government apparatus did not move over there.
I'm talking figuratively, of course.
The entire did not move.
No, I'm talking.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm talking in terms of the majority.
Now a good number has gone.
Good.
Now, when there is crisis, you see, the Yoruba man say, "No, batoniru, eje itan le kan." If the lice does not finish in the air, right, you have to continue to kill them. And that means there will continue to be blood
on your hands,
on your fingers.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of should they go, should they have stayed back? The practical thing is, if you are in the mud, right, it is not the time to wash your feet. You're looking for the best opportunity to get out of the mud. For me, for instance, cancelling the trip and then divert and go with the defense minister and go to Maiduguri to greet the people on the hospital bed. Yes, it's like you are in the mud. The mud is still around you. You don't even know your way out yet, but you are looking for water to wash one leg so that the leg will not be what? Be dirty. I don't think that is the right solution. It is that find your way out of the mud. If you get out of the mud, then you can begin to think about how to begin to wash the leg. So
my concern really, and I know this is the concern of many Nigerians, is that we need to apply the same rules across board. That's very important. Else, it will seem as if we are favorably disposed to this person and we are unfavorably disposed to that other person, and that will begin to impact negatively on integrity, on plausibility, on truth, whether or not, I mean, we can even take anything as true coming from you and all that. So I think that as much as possible, if we have applied what they say is that what is good for the goose is good for the gander.
It's good for the gander.
So I think that we need, generally, I have said before, I do not believe in those cheap political points of, somebody died and your president chose to go and be, because even if he stands there, he can not wake the person up. But you see, my concern is that the people that we are now defending used these same strategies very massively to undermine, to demean, to diminish governments before, and they shouldn't then be profiting by it.
Well, like I said, for me, that's the way I would look at it. Now, when you talk about, I think early this year, there was, the incident happened in Kwara. Taraba governor said, was it Taraba or Plateau, said he is postponing his defection because of the crisis. Now, one of the noise in 2014 was there were killing of school children, and then there was defection party in Kano or Katsina, and the government people went there to celebrate, and somebody said, oh, they are dancing on the graves of those that have just been killed. Now, defection, receiving defection is something you can postpone at will. It's within the party, it's within the nation. I think it's slightly different from when you are talking about international engagement. Death is death. We can put it at that. But who is involved in the event? Who is involved in the program and in the process? So that way you can be talking about whether there is empathy or no empathy. And one of the things I think that the Jonathan regime was hugely criticized for was also the fact that when there are issues, the government told the line of deniers before they told the line of response. The Chibok girls, for several days, the government was still denying that nothing had happened. And even when eventually they will agree, they began to blame the state government for allowing the students to stay in that school to
in the
write
first instance
exam.
Yes, but was that not no, was it right after security security intelligence had gone out before to say, look, these people should not be in school? Was it right for the state to continue to keep them in school in those places?
No, they had WAEC to write.
Did they eventually write the WAEC now?
What did the minister at the time, the Minister of Education said he wrote, or Minister of State for Education, that's Nyesom Wike, said he wrote the governor. But beyond writing the governor, what alternative provisions did he suggest as to, okay, how do you get these final year students to write their exam? Was there any form of collaboration between, because they are citizens of Nigeria, their security is our business, and of course there were issues at the time as to whether they were provided with soldiers, and the soldiers were not on ground or were pulled away some hours before the incident happened. If they were around, they could also have been overwhelmed. We won't argue that, but there are always those intricacies there that, number one, you have one, there will be security incident. Okay, we agree the governor did not listen to you, but now the incident has happened. Why are you then denying it that it did not happen? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. The government should also have accepted and said, but we warned you. But we warned you, it's not even the trading world at that time, it is what do we do to get the children back or to remedy the situation. But that was not the body language of the government of that time. The body language was first of all to deny that nothing was happening. The body language was, okay, and when you look at what were the responses at the time, Boko Haram had become an issue before the 6th division in the southeast was opened, right? You would know that in the entire northeast at the time, there was no divisional headquarters. Just that the 3rd Armored Division controlled most part of the northeast. That was the situation. So it tells you that that entire landmass, you know, by our landmass, I would always say, when you are talking about security and deployment of men, landmass is also part of the criteria because it covers distance. The north central is bigger than southern Nigeria. That's south, southwest, southeast. It's not as big as the north central. The northeast is much bigger than the north central. And then up until that time, even though we were still fighting, we were looking at Boko Haram issue, insurgency and the rest of that, nobody thought it right at the time. We still felt it was better to go and open the 6th division in the southeast and continue to leave the northeast. It took so long a time before the 7th division was open. So to a large extent, you need to look at what is the response of the government when an issue has occurred. If you say, okay, this is possible, what preparation are being put in place to forestall it? You are the government. Must you run and stay inside because you are the hunter and then they said the lion is outside? Is it the women that should go and face the lion or the hunter? So to a large extent, there has been a shift in what was and where we are. We have a situation now where at least denial is not the persistent position of the government when there are security
I do not quite
incidents.
agree. I may not push it. But I do not quite agree because you and I are witnesses that in 2024 here, 24 years, August 1st, when people protested that there was hunger, there were government spokespersons who said there was no such hunger. They didn't exist. That's denial.
No, we are talking about.
It doesn't necessarily have to be security. It doesn't
I'm talking about
it doesn't necessarily
incident.
have to be focused on security. I mean, if you are in denial, you are in denial. Because what it is that governments over time have used denial as a strategy of governance. which should not be from what you're saying, and I agree that it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. But I'm saying that most governments, in one way or the other, when they feel that that's the best way to quieten things, they have always adopted it.
And I'm saying, taken up for that.
Very good.
At such point, you take them up. And that's the practical reality. If you deny and we have evidence, we'll put the evidence out there. It's practical reality. So there shouldn't be an hiding place. But what we're saying is, when and in my own case, I always like a situation where let's compare an apple for an apple, a banana for a banana. Loss of life is loss of life.
Correct.
Right?
Like comparing government to government, for example.
Now when you say denial,
yes,
and back even in the past,
yes,
was it in 2011 or 2011 or there about 2011 December, the Minister of Finance at the time and coordinating Minister of Economy was out loud telling us that the masses does not benefit, that the subsidy benefits the rich men more than the common man. In fact, he went to say that no, the common man does not even have the car that they fuel, but the bike riders buy petrol. Those who grind pepper use petrol, right? And a lot of other cottage things. The generator that the big man used at that time run diesel because they are above 10 kVA. 10 kVA and below is the common man that use them. That runs on petrol as well. So, but the government at the time was coming up with such an argument as to say subsidy does not benefit.
Wait a minute, Bennett. We've spent so much time on this, and we need to just make a detour, kind of. So, as far as you're concerned, you have said that it is an excellent outing. Now let's talk about the royal treatment. Let's specifically, what did you see, and how do you see? I mean, what's the impact on the image of Nigeria?
Well,
I mean, there were things like airways closed. There were horse riding and all that. Those were, I mean, so.
No, that's why I said at the beginning that it was more of the king showing the value he has placed on the Nigerian nation. Now I'm aware even before he became king, I think his 60th and his 70th anniversary birthdays were celebrated in a Nigerian pastor church, specifically in the Redeemed Christian Church of God in London. Now, he is Anglican. The royal family, of course, belongs to the Church of England. But he took the Thanksgiving service of his own birthday, right, and hold it in a Nigerian-run church, or a church with the headquarters in Nigeria, the Redeemed Christian Church of God. So it tells you that to an extent, over time, the king had that relationship with Nigeria and Nigeria. I think in his speech he said he was here first 36 years ago. So it means that over the last 36 years, he's a different interaction with Nigeria. And he's personally showing that appreciation that, look, and that's why I said it's not just an honor to the president, it is an honor to the Nigerian nation. And so it is something that we should cherish. With the British people, the royalty is held, they hold it in very high esteem. So if the king decides to invite you for a royal visit, I think it's something that's worthy of celebrating. And that's why I said, beyond just celebrating it, we needed to also cash in on that, because it's not an invitation that this regime will get again very soon. Possibly we had one in 1965, we have another one in 1989, that's about 34 years after, and now we are having another one 37 or thereabout years after. So it's not something that comes
all the time.
So when you have it, grab the opportunity with both hands and maximize, see all that you can take away from it.
Right. All right. Now, from the interactions we have watched, what specific areas do you think that a difference things will impact us differently, positively?
Well, education-wise, we possibly hope to see better partnership. Of course, Nigeria has been one of the destinations where the UK sister schools look forward to for recruiting students. And I think that going forward, there is something going on the sideline that might require some of the universities there necessarily coming here to open maybe their campus, which means that you can have access to the quality that is available in the school without necessarily relocating from Nigeria to the UK. And if you ask me, that is a great advantage, because when you look at the cost of living upon relocation, if your parents sponsor you, it's huge, and it's not what the average person who wanted the education can afford. They've talked about the port investment, which is coming to maybe over 700 billion or thereabout. Let's see how that goes. Like we said, if the ports become more competitive, if the ports become more efficient and more effective, now there is anything you know about the UK system, it is efficiency. Yes, their bureaucracy can be very long, but they won't kill your time. I think that's the difference between them and us. He requires you to take 20 steps, but that 20 steps can be done in one day. Whereas here, when you say 5 steps, somebody can keep the file waiting for 1 month and there will be no consequence. In their system, you can't do that and without consequence. So if they are coming into the port system, I believe that something would be better. They don't have to take over. It's just that they will maybe help in putting the proper structure in place, and then it can be better run. And of course, you know that there are a number of British concerns that are still here. And well, we would, I think the president meeting with the prime minister, the 10 Downing Street meeting started around 12 or thereabout. So hopefully maybe by now they should be running it to a close. Maybe when that meeting is over, we would also have I will get information as to what transpired, and that will give us a broader picture. But definitely, if the people who have gone with the president are able to discuss with their counterparts on the other side, I'm sure that when they come back, they should have a note that can help them to give us a better stepping, to give us, because it doesn't matter what they promise. Now, I've been to a few trade fair or exhibitions in the UK, and the average British person that I saw in those exhibitions, or businessman, does not see why he should invest in Nigeria at those times. And one of their reasons is, no, you are more like an opportunity market. We cannot budget based on you. And I asked once, what do you mean? He said, you see, in our system, we want to see continuous growth. Even if you are growing 10 pounds per annum. He said, but in the Nigerian system, you can get $1 million today. And then in 3-4 years, nothing will happen again. He said, we don't do that, because once that 1 million come, by next year we are looking that it will become 1.1 million, or something must be going on that 1 million. Not that we will plot a graph that goes up so high and then come back to 0 the following year. He said, we don't do things that way. So I hope that we can learn a bit more from them, and then know what we need to put in place to improve investors' confidence, so that they can come in. So it's not just sufficient to go and tell them, we are investor friendly, we want you to come and invest. It's also sufficient that back when we come back, we take the lessons we have learned in the process, put them in the front burner, do the corrections that we need to do. They also don't believe in our data. That was another thing. I did information management, And I know that at that point, they rather will not trust any data that is coming from Nigeria. They would prefer that perhaps you are, so they put you through the stress of having to generate something locally. And so,
yet they do not believe in it.
Yeah, no, whatever you generate there, they will believe. But whatever you import from the Nigerian system,
okay,
they will tell you that there is no control measure. And of course, at that time, we don't even have data. Most organizations here may have IT management policy, but you realize that we don't have information management policy. We don't have information governance system. That is the corporate entities in Nigeria at the time. I'm talking of about 10, 12, 13 years ago. I think that now we possibly had improved in some areas, although we are not where we should be yet.
All right. We really need to go. We really need to go. So you're saying that as far as you're concerned, it was an excellent outing, and there are chances that our port system may benefit
from
and
it.
The education system may benefit from it. We've not heard anything seriously about security, because I think that should be top on the
but
agenda.
definitely this National Security Advisor was there, the Minister for Defense was there, so we expect that their presence there will possibly, and again, because it's security, I've always come to is to be, when you come to security strategies and the discussion and direction, it should actually not be a matter
for public
consumption all the time.
True, I agree.
Because we already have a system that is divided, we have a system that is likely infiltrated, and so you are not even sure who is leaking what information.
Agreed. Now, by the way, you are out there and you want to be a part of this program, the number is open. 08029938365 is the number. Let's have you call in so we can have your own contribution. How do you see the outing of Mr. President? Do you feel proud, or do you think it was a waste, or you think it was some jamboree, some junketing, and you think that it should have been avoided, or the number of the people that made the team should have been cut down very drastically? So that's what you need to call to tell us about. The number is 08029938365. All right, now we go straight away to the next topic, which has to do with the PDP. You know, I said some 2 weeks back that we're going to do a serial intervention on that matter, and today we bring that to a close. We've had part 1, we've had part 2, and today's only is part 3, and where we're focusing on is the lessons, the takeaways that other parties must follow, must take cognizance of, so that they don't have the kind of dismal, very embarrassing, very shameful setback that the PDP has had. All right, but for a party that boasted that they were going to rule for 60 years, they couldn't even manage beyond 16 years, and much worse, they couldn't manage opposition. As we speak, the party is almost dead. Yeah, it's almost dead. Whether anybody likes to, you know, there are people who like to talk very fancifully and make things look better than they truly are, but the truth is that PDP today has basically 1 or 2 governors, and there are even rumors that one of them may defect soon. By the way, when you say 2, there's already one who's been talking with another party, so it's like 1 then, and that one also is rumored to be talking with another. So where does the party really stand? When it got really, I mean, for 2 years I've been saying this, that the party was losing it without, I mean, once they refused to apply discipline. And my prediction has come to pass that, look, whenever or wherever, whatever setting, whatever group, whatever association where discipline is missing, is going to crash faster than you can ever think. It's a law of nature, because even God has put limits to almost everything. There's day, there's night. I mean, even Jesus Christ said the Son of Man must walk because it is day. before night comes and no man is able to walk. So, I mean, everything is guarded, everything. But when we lose guard, according to Nigerian, when we lose guard, we will pay for it. And that's what PDP is going through right now. So we're doing the rise and fall of PDP part 3. And the parts that we want to concentrate on is what the parties, other parties, particularly APC, can take away from it. Now, so let's have some of the things, some of the lessons that you think most other parties must take a look at critically, or some steps or some decisions or some choices that the PDP made in its heydays that you think that any party that is intent on growing and on sustainability, on continually being relevant, must not to such path?
Well, PDP started, in my opinion, like what you would call the establishment party.
Yeah, you said this.
So, if you have started as establishment party, and then you have an internal arrangement and principles and policies, this is what we stood for, this is what we want to do, and the rest of that. Sometimes in hiring people or in taking people that will represent you, that will carry your flag,
or that will execute that vision,
you might need to be concerned about people who believe in your vision. Now, having people who have their own mind. One of the way I know that my system is at fault or my phone will soon be faulty is when my son come and tell me, Daddy, that system is like he's having his own mind now. Having his own mind means the things you want it to do or that it should do not do. It's not doing it. You need to find a bypass to get it done. Once you have such people in the system, there will be impunity and there will be problems. Take it or leave it, the 99 to 2007 wasn't a roller coaster, wasn't good enough for the party. But because you will see that at those points, there were some internal impunities. Like we said, there were people who won ticket by popular contest within the party and the tickets were taken away and given to someone else. There were people who were told you cannot contest even when they are within the zone that should have those things. Now, those things bring internal sentiments in the party. And when you push people back, some will go away. But some have learned that habit to say that boycott is negative approach to development. I think that was what Rotimi Amaechi adopted. Rather than boycott and run away from the party, he went to court and said, I got the ticket. They took it illegally from me. And of course, he got the ticket, he got his seat back. There were those who would decide to walk away. Now, that's, I think, one part. Then when you're also relating and dealing with people, I think you should respect your own internal rules. Even if it's a gentleman agreement, you should respect it and act based on that. I still remember to an instance, I think it was presidential media chat, and President Jonathan was referring to the agreement for rotation. He said I was in the meeting where the purported, I think using the word purported was wrong, because what he was therefore saying is that whoever is talking about it is actually not saying the real thing. You were in the meeting, you represented your governor when that proposal was given. And the party issued it, and the people present agreed that there will be a second term for President Obasanjo, and thereafter it will go to the north for 8 years. So I think him acting for or replacing Yar'Adua and calling that meeting a purported agreement was not fair enough, because it also
could it have been a slip of tongue?
It wasn't. It was presidential media chat. It wasn't just on the streets.
Is that insulated from error?
Yes, it should be, because you know it is live, and he repeated it more than once. That it was where the purported agreement, that was the language he used. Purported, which means it was not really an agreement in his opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
So by 2011, at the primaries held to affirm him at Eagle Square, I did remember that President Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo, who was the BOT chairman at the time, said the president has magnanimously, I heard that he has magnanimously agreed to serve only one term. He said that. That is also there on record. So why the grandstanding in 2015 to actually run again? We are not saying he doesn't have the right, but that there has been an agreement. That has been said, and you did not deny it. You didn't reject that you said so. You didn't object to that condition. Then towards the end of the 4 years, you're now saying, no, you must run again. Yes, it's your right to run. But the truth is that it has breached the gentleman agreement. Then another thing that was very highly responsible that others must learn from. Don't become an expert in quackery. How do I mean? When you look at the election in 2003, it was obvious that even from the courts up to the Supreme Court level, some election, I think Nasarawa, Ogun, and some other states were declared to have been to have not been proper and condemned. The only thing the court now said is, even if we remove the figures from those states, the PDP will still win. And so, because the election have met with substantial compliance, the election should stay. But those errors spotted in 2003 were not corrected by the party in 2007.
Which errors are we talking about?
About maybe overvoting, figures not representing this. So in 2007, some of the governors that they lost, some of the governorship that eventually they lost in the court, came as a result of similar errors that have been spotted in 2003. And of course, when Yar'Adua came on board, President Yar'Adua stated clearly that my election was fraught with what? Malpractices. So he, who was the beneficiary, agreed that things were not done properly. But the party began to prepare for a transparent election while INEC was preparing. For me, the answer is no. They are taught it to be business as usual, and they will always do it the way they used to do it. I tell people, compare 2011 election and 2023 election. In 2023, there were more awareness. In 2023, people voted into the night in FCT and in the Southeast. But go and check the final result. The Southeast voted over 7 million for Goodluck Jonathan in 2011. But the total vote earned by Peter Obi in 2023 was less than 7 million. So what happened? And that includes about 600,000 from Lagos. So what happened to the 7 million people that voted for PDP in the Southeast in 2011? It's either those votes were written, because you cannot say that the participation and the interest in 2011 was higher than 2023. The population in 2011 was definitely not higher than 2023. The number of registered voters in 2011 was not higher than 2023. So it tells you that to an extent, the party tried in abnormalities. And so when they now decide of their own accord to say, okay, let us make the system more transparent, then, because they couldn't cope in the transparent system, because being transparent was not incorporated in their DNA. Then they lost the election. And having lost the election, you would expect them to sit down, go back to the grassroots, prepare afresh, learn their lesson from where they have lost, look at how to grow their grassroots base, and come out to do a better contest. But I didn't really see the PDP making any backward integration from 2015 till now to really hone in on their grassroots. And then, of course, you now come to the center. There was, of course, what you would call the high-handedness in handling some of their members, which over time have led sitting governors in the party to go and support the opposition or refuse to support the party. In 2015, you eventually have the G5, there's Bukola Saraki, Rotimi Amechi, and no, Rotimi Makinde wasn't there in 2015.
Okay, no, sorry.
So we were Saraki, and about 5 of them ganging together, and of course supporting the APC.
But when you now had the new PDP.
Yes, you have the new PDP.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, many of them didn't last in APC. They returned to PDP before 2019.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe Amechi. And by 2019, you said, okay, we know there is rotation. This and this and this. There were discussions, there were decisions. But again, in their normal tradition of some people being high-handed and believing that they are larger than life, made sure that that agreement was not held. So any party that would want to survive, you need to have your rules drafted. You need to agree to your rules and you need to obey it. And then you come to 2023, you said, okay, if the chairman is not, the president should be south. If the president is south, the chairman should be north. But the chairman of the party was given to the north. But he could still rigmarole and grab the ticket of the party. And I think the complaint was, now that you have the presidential ticket, then let the chairman resign. Let's have a chairman from the south. The chairman will not agree. And then you have another set of G5.
Okay, yeah. Again, which the Makinde was talking about.
Who were now inside and were contending with the party. So to a large extent, when you roll this over, you will see that disrespect for their internal rules was a big problem. Disrespect for the party constitution and the party organ was a big process. Disrespect or denial of gentleman agreement is also a big process. If you don't want it, now in my place they say into ni gba lolowo talika tiwatiko. That is that which you will not accept when you become a rich man. Begin to reject that insult even from when you are not yet rich.
Yeah.
When you are not yet rich. So whatever you know you will not accept, don't promise it. Don't agree to it. But if you have agreed to it, whether you call it a gentleman agreement or not, an agreement is an agreement. Apology to Wike. And so you should hold yourselves to that agreement.
Now, because the whole essence is that we learn lessons. Are there some of these things that are currently playing out in other parties, particularly the APC? Have we not had some impunity, high-handedness in the APC, for example? I mean, see the unceremonious way in which Ganduje was dropped. There have been 1, 2, 3 like that, different decisions that just, I mean, came out of the blues and hit very badly. But then they are lucky because the opposition party that should take up those things and take advantage of those kind of issues has been largely absent.
Yeah, what you also want to see and think is the PDP, the APC case is straightforward. You had a president, an interim chairman at takeoff, and after winning 2014 election, the interim chairman stepped down. A chairman was elected from Edo, I think. That's the former governor of Edo State. He came on board. No, not a Shomole.
Okay.
That's the 99 to 2000.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So,
that was involved with Peter Obi recently with the attack.
So, he was elected and he became the party chairman. But of course, somewhere along the line, we would also notice that he tends to bend or sway more in the direction of the new PDP, the Saraki and co camp. And I think the party structure saw that, and in a way, they did not allow him to recontest when his tenure expired. What they simply did was had a new election, brought another former governor from Edo State to replace him. So over time, APC had always had a way of managing, I think, when it comes to their succession process. We've not had anybody go to court or make any noise when he had to step aside or leave in the APC ESCO, because the party was formed based on negotiation, was formed based on agreement, was formed based on discussion as to, okay, this is CPC, this is AMPP.
I don't think that point is particularly true. It's not true in its entirety, because if we also see how the process that led to the exit of Oshomole was quite dramatic and full of all kinds of controversy.
But he didn't leave the party.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't leave the party. Yeah. A tendency within at the time, and you know that it also in the media they couldn't also come up with another person. They had to have somebody that was acting. If you check it, Oshomole came from the ACN camp. The guy in Yobe that was taken came from AMPP. Obviously, at the time, there was also the need to pacify AMPP because a number of positions they were promised previously, they didn't get it. The new PDP had taken it off. But there was also the concept within that some people are already looking at the presidential election in 2023 and the fact that Oshomole will likely favor Tinubu because he's an ACN person and they are closed. So that rancor came in. Of course, Oshomole also, maybe to an extent, you will say, was becoming high-handed in the way he handled his own governor. And exactly. When you also look at his removal, they still had to follow process. Somebody went to court. Some people sat at his constituency to say, we are suspending him. So they have followed process. It wasn't the president coming to his house to eat pounded yam and give him a letter to sign.
Yeah.
That was the case in PDP. No, so it's a different scenario. They have followed the rule.
It may both have been, in both cases, you know how it's the Yorubas who say that you do not, when you see, there are these insects, I can't get the name immediately now, around the water rivers.
Yes.
When you see them dancing,
yes,
once
the water
the drum,
okay, the water skater is dancing on the surface of the water.
Once beating the drum
is under.
It's under. It's somewhere out of view.
We are not saying it's not under, but you are but you cannot say that was done out of impunity of me coming to you in your house, give you letter, sign, and then okay, you did not put date. I come back, put date, and you are gone, right? That's different from they have worked out all the different details.
But by the way, these were conjectures anyway.
No, the man who is involved said it himself on the press, and the fellow he accused did not deny. That's very clear. Between and any what's his name? Audu Ogbe said it in public that this is what happened. The president then did not deny that it happened, and up till today he has not denied it. But what we're saying is that wasn't, I'm not sure that is the laid down process for it in
their constitution.
But whether it's Ganduje or it's Adamu, that's the is it Adamu, the 2023 chairman of the party.
Okay, the Nasarawa man.
The Nasarawa man.
Yeah.
Him also, you can't say that somebody put him at gunpoint to resign. No. But he also knows that, look, I have operated within a tendency that does not show. Now remember that he also was a PDP
originally. Yeah.
Originally was so part of the new PDP that we have operated, and now we have opposed this man. He's now in office. I think it is just natural for me to step.
I don't think that's what played out.
No, there would have,
was still pushed out.
There might have been prayers, but you cannot compare it with the impunity of what transpired for each of the successive PDP chairman. You can't compare them. You can't put them on the same space. So, but clearly, you have the party constitution. There should be some measure of respect for it. For Ganduje also, yes, he had issues at home. He came to the center. He was taken. He was given the job. He had capacity. He was doing it. But again, there is the need to accommodate more people. And perhaps it's observed that if he continues to be in charge, they might not be able to accommodate the new people they are looking at. Or perhaps if they accommodate the people, that might upset him, that he will not be happy enough to continue to do his job. And then he's eased out, or he chose to step down, and then whatever the case may be. But to an extent, the party has a constitution. When it is there, let them follow what the constitution says. And if you think there is the need for an amendment because you think the constitution is not working for you at any point in time, sit down, renegotiate the constitution, amend it, and put it to a frame that will be good for everybody. It's obviously sad that a party that once had as much as 28 governors today has 2, and the one who is the chairman of the governors forum in the party, he's been pointed as to be going. Now if your chairman is leaving and you are the only 2 people left, common sense only demand that you should also be looking at going elsewhere if you don't want to follow it.
Apart from all of that, the party is in a state where unless you want to go into political oblivion, you would want to leave. You just must leave. The circumstances is very terrible as of today. So it's not even that one person has left or the other. If any of those politicians who has a desire to make a future, then must definitely leave. That's the situation with the PDP, and it's very sad. So can we get a summary, even as we begin to round up? APC, these are, and other parties, these are things you've mentioned, and very you've stressed impunity. You've talked over and over about impunity. That's taken. Yeah, but is there any other thing?
Yeah, what other, like I said, impunity, they need to check it, but they also, every party need to learn to work within their own rules. Work within your own rules, work within guiding rules around you. If, for instance, INEC said bring your register 21 days before your primaries, you need to work to meet that condition. Otherwise, your members won't be able to contest. And we also need to know that as it is today, at the grassroots, I still believe that PDP has got followership. So which means if for any reason they are able to resolve this crisis, find any way to put candidates on the ballot in the next election, you will be surprised that they may still have chance of doing well. More so that the election will, I expect the election to be free and fair more than the ones before it. So it's no longer a case of is it PDP that said they did tsunami and take over the southwest, Abi?
Is there not a tsunami going on right now?
I know if they call that tsunami at the time, I want because they moved from 24 governors to 28. That was what they call a PDP tsunami. But today, I have seen PDP come from 10 governors to 2, and they did not even just capture only PDP. They have people coming from everywhere, some other parties to them. So it has to be that every party needs to understand the Electoral Act. Every party needs to talk to their members base. And for those gladiators who are moving, they need to wash their back. How many people do they actually have behind them who are moving with them? It's not about the title you carry of a former governor, of a former minister, of this or that. No, it is that back home in your own root, who are the people that are actually... Again,
I think I must lend some this thing to what you said a while ago, that the party still has some support at the grassroots. There's someone who calls usually on our program in the evening who said one of those occasions or twice now that it is the party, it is the politicians that are defecting. No, it is not the people that are defecting, and that's heavy. If you can read through that, it is the politicians that are defecting. No, it is not the people that are defecting. So, in a free and fairly contested election, your point might just be correct that the PDP can still get some. But again, it depends on what the party itself is doing to ensure their presence in those places.
To put candidates on the ballot.
In those places. If you had a good party or a good leadership of the PDP right now, they should forget entirely about the presidency. They should concentrate on getting as many reps members, as many state of assembly members, as many senators, Senate seats as possible, and then hope for the better the next time. Hello? Welcome. You are coming at the very fringes. Right. All right. Ben Agunloye.
Yes. The topic just as you have said, I strongly believe that if they can lend their services, their houses, and every necessary thing, they can be bounced back. Why? Because just as our...
Oops. What happened? Well, we got to go. We just got to go. I must say thank you for being there. It shows that you are there. That's why SODUDU is calling to respond to what we've been talking about. And I want to say thank you to you, dear viewers. You make it happen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming, Ben.
It's my pleasure.
And thank you for the commitment to Captain TV. I really do appreciate. And I must say on behalf of the management that we appreciate you. And then also their production team, give you a thumbs up. Thank you very much. It's bye from me, Dayo Omogun. See you in the evening.